we rise up. If you come against the king, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our Elohim, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man, we gon' rise up. We rise up, and rise up.
Oh me, oh my. Atheist tweeting OMG. Life came to a standstill and then got real with them prophecies. Every time we done pass go, monopolize the monopoly. You give us 200, take 300, charge us for the property. Y'all gave us this authority. To be honest, got it honestly. Which means we are joint heirs. Zombies twins on a trampoline. We speak what he wrote. Melania's speech, Michelle's notes. Israel hit the ground running like a breech birth cause we got hope. Hold up. Yeshua is the Messiah. It's his will over our will, so we call that student drivers. He calls us his song. Sorry, Mariah. Posted to carry these notes. Addressing all outsiders, we will rise up.
If you come against the scriptures, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our heritage, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man, we gon' rise up. Rise up, we rise up. If you come against the king, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our Elohim, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man, we gon' rise up. We rise up, rise up, and rise up.
Rise up in the morning, see my people in poverty, crying out to my people. They asking me why you bother me. Slaves, we living in colonies, walking like zombies who bred with lobotomies. Even preacher man and creature man, down low with them sodomies. And no, it isn't an oddity, rather the norm, so check the academy. They say pimpin' ain't easy, I guess that's the academy. Rise, I'm getting that out of me, know that they lie to me, no longer lie to me. Yeshua flipped up the process, yeah, I molded the pottery. Hold up, what they gonna do when they show up? Will they ever grow up? Cause some rather breathe with a bowl than to run and plant seed with a sower. You remember Noah? What you gonna be when the blow, when the heaven reseed, then it roll up? Then you're gonna go up, you better reread what you know of mainframe, DP, and to go up.
If you come against the scriptures, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our heritage, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man, we gon' rise up, we rise up. If you come against the king, man, we gon' rise up. If you come against our Elohim, we gon' rise up. It don't matter, anybody get it, man, we gon' rise up, we rise up.
Shalom, shalom. Hey, shalom, brother Elijah. Good to see you in there. Shalom, everybody tuning in. Title of today's show is relationship dysfunction. And what we're going to do, and it's kind of an introduction to what I'm going to be teaching on this weekend. I'm going to go a lot deeper in depth on this. So this is kind of a little, 15-20 minute intro to what this weekend's lesson is going to be on. And it's going to be about relationship dysfunction. It's going to be about what the solutions are and what the causes are. Getting all the way to the bottom of it. Because when you look in the Hebrew community, you see a lot of relationship dysfunction. Okay? Anyway, with that said, let me, all right, so, right here, all right, but anyway, yeah, it doesn't take long looking in the Hebrew community to see, all the relationship dysfunction going on, and particularly in the world. So what I'm gonna do is just hit on a couple things, and like I said, this weekend when we get into it, it'll be a ton of scripture, all throughout the book. We won't be focusing in any one area or in any one book of the Bible on this topic. It'll be coming from all over the book, and it's going to be balanced. It's not going to be me beating up on women or me beating up on men. You're going to see where it's a dynamic and both parties have there's aspects of the man and aspects of the women. There's aspects in their own in their spirits that they have to face, and that they have to be honest with themselves about in order to make this thing work. But it's definitely like I said, I try to speak to the elephants in the room. I try to speak to the stuff you see going on, but nobody really talking about. Folks are, Shalom. Good morning, Sister Hicks. Good to see you in there. So definitely, you see the relationship dysfunction out there. And what you're going to find, especially this weekend when I go in on it, is the areas that we need, that the work has to be done on. You begin looking at yourself in it, and you know it to be the truth, because when I begin to hit on where we need to be focusing at, people start squirming. You get squirming. And that is where all these issues stem from. Okay? The inspiration for this lesson, and for me, for the weekend lesson that I'm going to bring forth with this, I saw a lot of the news I see on social media or whatever, Atlanta Black Star, their newspaper, and a lot of these other black newspapers, just around the Hebrew community, stuff you hear, stuff I've experienced. And even yesterday, there was a sister, she was dropping her kids off at school, and she saw, I guess, either witnessed the immediate aftermath of a shooting, which appeared to be over a domestic dispute. So, and it's like the more personal, the more universal. A lot of domestic violence occurs over, relationship dysfunction, all that stuff like that. So anyway, with that said, shalom, Sister Savannah. Good to see you in there. Anyway, with that said, let's get into it. Like I said, this is an intro to this weekend's topic on relationship dysfunction. And the title of this weekend's message is gonna probably be relationship dysfunction, causes and solution. Okay. But anyway, let's get with the cause. What's the cause of relationship dysfunction? Why do we see crazy things happening, like ugly divorces and like men going around shooting women in the heads? Because that's what happened yesterday. Why do we see women just taking a man to town and trying to wreck his life because of over a breakup or something like that, and a lot of the cheating and all that stuff like that, and just a lot of anger and malice when it comes to relationships? Why do we see the MGTOW movement, the beta male, the alpha male movement, the sigma male movement? Why do we see a lot of women kind of moving more towards a feminist, I gotta do me mindset and protect myself mindset, Why do we see that? There's a lot of separation, even in the Hebrew Israelite community. There's a lot of women who are almost have, you can subtly see that, hey, they not messing with men, and understandably so, because it's dangerous for these women to be led by some of these men that are out here who are weak and everything like that. So anyway, why is all that? Why do we see all this relationship dysfunction out here? Well, like I said, I'm gonna break it down, just give y'all a quick kind of intro. But this Sabbath, Shabbat morning at around 8 o'clock, I'll get started on. We're gonna that's what the lesson is gonna be about. We're gonna go in depth. We're gonna break it, chop it up with scripture, make it very plain and simple and basic and digestible, just like I like to make it. So that the only thing left when I get done with the lesson is for you to do it, for you to put this word into action. So anyway, let's get started with it. The reason why there's a lot of relationship dysfunction, just real basic, is because Satan has turned things completely upside down from the way the Most High Yah has laid it out to be. Satan's first move in the garden was an attack on the relationship. A woman holds heavy influence on a man. That's her most powerful thing, is how she can influence a man. Satan knew that he couldn't do a frontal assault on a man. He couldn't attack the man, but he could use the woman to attack and manipulate the man. Okay, because the man's heart is open to the woman. Today, it's the same thing. The government has they admitted that they had to go after that black woman in order to bring us down as a people. And in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s and all that, they began that attack. Okay? They seek to undermine the family. But to kind of fast forward to today, what's going on today, the dynamic that's going on in relationships today, and why relationships suffer, is because what this society does is they seek to feminize the man and masculinize, if that's a word, or they emasculate the man and masculinate the woman, make the woman more masculine and all that. So they flip the roles upside down. Men are not being taught to control their lust. They're being encouraged to be led by their lust. So with that, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go through the dynamic, this cycle of destruction, like I taught my lesson last week. They encourage a man to be lustful through videos, through media, through advertisement, through everything in this society. Men are encouraged to embrace their lust. They're given unhealthy outlets for it, homosexuality or behavior that is unhealthy and destructive to their nation. So the unhealthy outlet of a man's lustful behavior that gets fed and fertilized is, again, homosexuality. Again, rape and molestation in the black community. We talked about how more than what percentage? It's more than over 50% of our women been raped and molested by the time they're 20 years old. Okay, it happens to the men too. It's less reported, but men are not being taught how to be men. Men aren't being taught how to be soldiers and stand up and fight their emotions and instructed on self-discipline when it comes to emotion and overcoming and all that. Men are being encouraged to kind of be emotional and soft and all that, and being led by their emotions. On the same note, women are being encouraged and manipulated by this society and all this stuff that goes on to step away from men, to you know, when a woman's been let down and violated by men by the time they're like 20, and then the environment tells them, look, you got to do your own thing, you got to be an independent woman and this, that, and the other. I mean, that is a attractive option based on what's out there. And I see what's out there for them. A lot of these dudes is weak. Okay? And nobody's out there telling women, hey, this is how, this is the standard for a good man. Like, these are the traits that you can see from a distance without even really talking to a man. If a man displays these traits, you should kind of try to work towards something with him. Nobody's telling women this stuff. So they have no idea what a standard is and what to look for in a good man. There's nobody out there helping them on this thing. Okay? So what is out there is the movies, the media, society, whether it's in the Hebrew Israelite community or in the church or wherever, is telling them, look, guard yourself. You know, you gotta lead, you gotta do your own thing, girl. You gotta be independent, this, that, and the other. That is out there. And that's the mainstream option that's out there for these women. And of course, that's what they gravitate towards. Okay? And what ends up happening is eventually, because of emotion and lack of truth out there and all that stuff, they end up going with that option. They end up being these kind of stronger, masculine type women. When a woman is like that, they always end up getting a feminized man that they dominate, and they end up getting turned off to that because that's not attractive. Women are attracted to men. Women are not attracted to feminized men. That's not attractive. They're attracted to a man who could lead. But the thing is, there's not a lot of them out there. And not even, I would move to say, not that there's not a lot of them out there. Women don't know how to spot them. Okay? Because the way they've brainwashed our women into being, they automatically repel those types of men and attract feminized men, soft men. Okay? So, how does this dynamic end up playing out in the relationship dysfunction and violence, all that? You got a feminized man who's led by his lust. A couple things happen here. He'll turn the woman off. A lot of times that woman might end up cheating on him, and this man has no control over his emotions. He finds out the woman's cheating. Boom. And then you see one of these textbook, so typical situations where the man's out there, he can't handle his emotions. Oh, she cheated on me. She's the world to me, because he's been trained to worship women as God. So when this God in his life moves on, that he's worshipped, and cheats on him and moves out of his life, he goes and tries to kill her and does something crazy because he has no control of his emotions. He's turned the woman into God and not the Most High Yah. So he puts his emotions and feelings for this woman over what the Most High Yah says and how the Most High Yah told him to feel about a woman. Okay? So this is one of the dynamics that you see happening out here on a widespread basis. And like I said, there's a lot of things that have to be worked through. Because what basically what this society, what Satan has done is made the woman God in a man's eyes, and the man gets a man to worship that woman. Okay? And when you got that going on, you're in an ugly situation. And you see it everywhere to varying degrees, including in the Hebrew Israelite community. A lot of men don't really, in the Hebrew Israelite community, a lot of people don't really want to talk about certain topics, certain verses, certain cultural differences in Hebrew relationships as opposed to this revised Roman Empire's version of relationships. A lot of those topics don't even get addressed. And it said, come out of her, my people, and choose none of her ways. So, because of this Jezebel spirit and Ahab spirit that our men have, it causes relationship dysfunction. And the relationship dysfunction plays out in varying degrees, okay? Depending on how dysfunctional the men and the woman involved in the relationship are. If the man is too feminized and the woman is has a very strong Jezebel spirit on her, if it's too extreme, it winds up in, gunfights. At its moderate level, it can wind up, and you're going to have arguments in relationships, but it can wind up in very ugly knockdown, drag out arguments. It can wind up in separation and divorce. So there's varying degrees. It can wind up in cheating, infidelity and stuff like that, to varying degrees. At the end of the day, what it all comes down to is when a man steps into his biblical masculine role as a emotionally controlled, patient leader, and a woman steps into her feminine biblical role as a feminine I'm trying to remember the word, but subjugated, submissive is the word. As a submissive, quiet, shamefaced woman, when both people step into those biblical roles that the Most High Yah laid out for us all through the scriptures to be in, you can't put an argument in there. Like it just by the description of what I said, there can't be dysfunction. You see what I'm saying? But when those roles are twisted, depending on how twisted they are, you're going to the direct degree of the twisting of those roles, to the degree that a man has the Ahab spirit, and to the degree that the woman has a Jezebel spirit, is the exact degree to the relationship dysfunction. So if I see how much of an Ahab spirit a man has, and how much of a man is in his emotion and acting like a female, and if I see how much a woman is acting like a male, an alpha male leader, to that exact degree, I can directly calculate your relationship dysfunction. I'm trying to kind of put it into analogy to where you see it's literal mathematics with this thing. But anyway, that's what I'm going to be going into this weekend, this Shabbat, on my lesson, Relationship Dysfunction, the causes and the solutions. We're going to get into all that. And the bulk of the lesson is going to be on the solutions. So definitely share this video. I want y'all to share it, get it out there, put it out there. Make sure people are going to tune in. Subscribe to my Spiritual Combat channel on Facebook and YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. Make sure you hit the follow button and make sure you receive the notifications and all that stuff like that. And we're going to get into this, and there's gonna be no gray areas. I'm gonna break it all the way down, and I'm gonna tell you this also. If just one partner applies the stuff I'm gonna be bringing out in this lesson this weekend, Shabbat morning, so Saturday at 8 a.m. at 8 a.m. in the morning, if just one person applies what I'm gonna be bringing out, it's gonna fix the relationship. The other person is gonna have to kind of begin to come into order. Because it's biblical, it's book. So anyway, with that said, gotta get ready to head out. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat. And with that said, shalom.